Alright, what's up guys? It's Luthier here, and today we have another SPL game. This time I am going to be playing Hyogafodex, which is a friend of mine in the Brazilian jerk, I guess you could call it. But I'm actually trying to do something different today. As you can see, this is a screen recording of my game itself, and then I'm going to be doing a little narration, similar to what the Linear Curve does regarding his game. So I'm going to actually be toggling with the recording because I want to be able to explain at each step. So it makes a little more sense because I didn't really talk at all during the screen recording, obviously. So anyway, as I said before, last week versus Ima, I actually ended up using a team that my friend passed me because I was so bothered about my team choice. I couldn't really settle on something, and then it caused problems because I definitely played not only poorly, but I also tended to I had to play a style of team which I was not comfortable with. So yeah, the reason I didn't want to upload it is because it was just not a good game to watch, both not only on my end, but from any viewers I was trying to maybe learn from it. There's really nothing to learn. It was just awful content, so I didn't really did not want to upload that. But either way, we are going to be using a Dragapult plus Kartana team. Now, as I had said in the last video I posted, that I wanted to start building my own teams. So here I am. This is a team that I actually built right after my game with Ima. I was kind of bothered by it, so I guess I just slaved away in the builder a bit. But yeah, so we were working with a Pult plus Cart, and the reason is because I think Dragapult is a very good mon in general now because Spectra got banned, so people will stop running Ghost Resist. As you can see, this team itself does not have a Ghost Resist. It just has full spit of Tran. So that's the reason I wanted to run Dragapult. And then the reason I paired it with Kartana is because Kartana is going to be able to pressure a lot of things with knockoff, which is really nice. I know it's a little counterintuitive with the Clef that I'm bringing. As you can see, it's the Trick Barb set. But I still think it's very good because you can manage that well. But anyways, we got Lana to support, and then Heatran and Zapdos, which is whatever. The reason I'm actually running that much speed on my Lando is because I think I talked to Hyoga earlier in the week because the Runers are basically out at this point, which is why Hyoga is starting in SS and not GSC. And I think he was being unironic when he was saying, yeah, I'm going to just bring Diggersby Zone versus you. And I was like, okay. And so I ran a 256 speed Lando, which is going to be able to outspeed not only any Specs Magearna and stuff like that, but it's also going to be able to outspeed Diggersby if he actually does end up bringing that. Because no one runs like a jolly Diggersby. There's no reason to run 280. It doesn't really hit anything, while the 255 Adamant Diggersby will do a lot more work. So that's basically why I had to use, I wanted to use that spread on my Lando. Yeah, so that's it for the team, I guess. I'm gonna skip this part. This is all me importing and stuff and having troubles with that. Alright, yeah. So anyway, so we accept, and so what we see here is a Volcarona team. And now I preview what I'm thinking. Well, I'll just let it go because I think a lot during preview. But anyway, so after we get into the game, he actually ends up sending me his team in a Pokepaste. And, instinctively I clicked it, but then after I clicked it, I realized, I really don't want this because it's going to end up hurting me if he ends up bringing, some sort of stupid set, and I don't know how to deal with it. If he bluffs a set and things like that, and I really don't want to deal with that. So I said screw it, and didn't end up, opening it in the first place, which is whatever. So off of preview, what I'm thinking is it's, maybe possibly, a lead Lando, and then Specs Magearna, Setup Magearna, whoever knows, Banded Boom, probably, and Nasty Plot, Hydreigon, and then an offensive Dragapult. I'm not really sure what type it is, but regardless. So what I'm calculating here is, does the Leaf Blade from Landorus kill? Or onto Landorus kill? And unfortunately, it does not. However, what I do realize then is I go to calc Dragapult, and I see that the Dragapult U-turn actually chips it such that the roll for U-turn into Leaf Blade is actually kind of in my favor. Or if it's not in my favor, it'll be very close. Besides, getting chip on Lando is pretty nice because it makes my Lando a lot more easy to pivot around and makes it kind of like an offensive defensive threat kind of thing. So basically, I wanted to lead off with Dragapult. Again, I thought he would be Sash, so for that reason, I just click U-turn here. I think a mistake I did make is that once the U-turn did 9 with a crit, I should have realized that it was a purely defensive Lando and not going to be a what you call it, a offensive sash lead Lando. So yeah, that I guess that's a mistake. But he clicked U-turn, so I guess we found out then that it's going to be not a sash lead. So I go into Clef here because I don't want to go into Tran because the Tran is so obvious. Plus, if I go into Clef, it covers a double to like a possible Rillaboom or something along those lines. And I don't really want to play games with Rillaboom because if I miss Heat Waves and stuff like that, it could be annoying. But either way, I know he's definitely not clicking a Flamethrower, so it's not something that is a big deal to me. So I go into Clef, I take the Bug Buzz, and I realize that he's full offensive. Now, if it is full offensive with a Roost last, then my Tauntran actually does not beat it 1v1, because if it quivers up enough, then I'm in a position where, you know, I get PP Slow with Heatran. So I just go for the recover here, because if he does Quiver Dance, I can always go hard Heatran and then taunt then. But luckily he lets us get the trick off Volcarona, which is really nice, because now I don't have to feel threatened by Heatran. I double the Dragapult here because it covers double the Lando, as you can see, and then I just drop the Hydro Pump. Now, yeah, it just obviously just nukes the Lando. But here, okay, so I thought about this turn a lot, and I want to explain this because I think it's a very pivotal turn. Now, basically, him going hard Magearna makes you think he's 100% set up Magearna. And there are two scenarios here. One, it's an offensive Life Orb setup Magearna in which it doesn't run Calm Mind. Or two, it's a semi-defensive Shift Gear Weakness Policy Calm Mind Magearna. In that case, I am screwed, because if that's a Magearna set he's running, then if I go into Tran and he Calm Minds up on my switch to Tran, then Calm Minds up again, one, a Magma Storm is doing jack. Two, I have to hit a Magma Storm. Three, I activate his weakness policy. And four, he can shift gear the turn after and just straight up 6-0 my team from there, because I don't have any priority on my team. So that being in my head, I was like, I cannot go into Heatran. Obviously hindsight is like 2020, but basically his set end up being a Life Orb 3 attacks Shift Gear Magearna. However, I don't really think I could have known that at the time, and so the reason I go for the Hydro Pump is because it covers him going for a Calm Mind, and basically I can chip it with Hydro Pump and then revenge it with Lando, worst case. And if it is bulky Calm Mind, then a Hydro Pump, 3 Hydro Pumps will kill. Obviously, it's a bit wishful thinking, but that's something I can get into the moment it happens. The other thing is that my Lando actually does live a Calm Mind plus Shift Gear stored power. So that wouldn't be, you know, something that's super threatening to me. And if he does click Calm Mind here, then I can just go hard Lando and I shouldn't be in like troublesome position. So that's what I was thinking. And for that reason, I click Hydro Pump because I need chip on this Magearna. He then ends up clicking Focus Blast. So I'm like, what? Because no. For then I realized that he could still be like either Magearna. But his win con is probably this Magearna. So for that reason, I go into Zapdos, because I think at this point I was like, he could also be Specs at this point. It makes sense for him to be a Specs Magearna. So that's why basically I go into Zapdos here, because it covers that. And it turns out in his pace that he sent, he was a Shift Gear 3 tax Magearna. But again, I don't think I should have had access to the pace in the first place, so I'm going to act like I don't have it. Plus, my Zapdos also would live an Ice Beam. So I don't think it was like really problematic. So I just go hard into my Zapdos because it covers like a switch to Rillaboom or something along those lines. Obviously it doesn't cover Hydreigon as well, but if I can cover Rillaboom, then I will be in a pretty solid position. So for that reason, I just go into Zapdos. And again, it turns out he does double to Rillaboom, which is really, really nice. And because I know I'm definitely going to be slower, I just go for the Volt Switch. Luckily, or unluckily, we don't get the para there, which is sucky. But now we get this opportunity to bring our Clef back in. And I was really debating, should I double to like Heatran or maybe Dragapult to like scout like a Flash Cannon? But Flash Cannon really is not a thing right now in general, so I don't think I should have. I needed to be super worried about the Hydreigon having Flash Cannon. So for that reason, I just recover up Soft Boiled, and he goes hard to Rillaboom. And Zapdos is really only here for this Rillaboom, so I could really care less. Unfortunately, he does crit the Wood Hammer, but fortunately for us, he does get. I'm sorry. Fortunately, he does get the Static. Now, so there are two plays I can make here. I can either roost. Well, no, there are three plays. I could roost, heat wave, or volt switch. Volt switch covers every single play you can go for because, again, I don't really need my Zapdos, and if he does stay in for some reason, I can always just go hard cart and basically claim a kill from there. So that's why I click volt switch. I go into Dragapult because U-turn was incredibly free. If he does stay in with Hydreigon with U-turn, then I do bring in my Clef, which is, you know, pretty good way to deal with it. And this is where I was talking about the clutch 256 speed on the Lando, because I know that he might think I'm just straight up defensive and he might be faster. So for that reason, I went to Lando, maybe baiting that he could stay in. So at this point, I go into my Clef because Clef is the way to deal with Hydreigon, and I click a Moonblast. And this was very a weird play, and it didn't really get talked about a lot because it slipped my mind and nothing happened to punish me. But it turns out that it was DD Dragapult with weakness policy. Now, I still do not think it was a choke, because either way I would have been fine. The other play I could have done is I could have gone hard Lando on the Dragapult, but then I would have had to, you know, hit a Toxic, which is something that is bothersome for me because I'd rather have the guaranteed Moonblast damage and whatnot. So, but anyway, so assuming he does DD up on my Clef, and then I activate his weakness policy with my Moonblast, he would only be able to do 91 max, literally 91 max to my Clef, meaning that he wouldn't be able to knock it out. So if I went hard into Lando, that means I had to hit a Toxic, which was, you know, 10% chance to lose on the spot, basically. Alternatively, if I just stayed in with my Clef, that basically gives me a 23 out of 24 chance to basically win the game then. So that's why I stayed. Well, I can't say that's why I stayed in with Clef, but you know, that's why staying with the Clef was like an objectively okay play. So yeah, so that's basically why I go for Moonblast there, and I go into Lando here because it just gives me the opportunity to get up rocks, and I don't really need to Lando for anything else. I see he's clicking Grassy Glide there, but, you know, I really don't care. I don't really need that much health on my Lando. And then I just go into my Dragapult here because he doesn't have good switches to Shadow Ball, and I just go for the Shadow Ball. I think at this point I'm starting to think of, like, how to, like, not choke the game. But yeah, either way, he goes into Hydreigon, and I can just go into my Clef here. Because Clef basically hard walls Hydreigon, and he just goes for Roost, which is whatever, and I can basically, you know, click off the Moonblast, which is fine. He goes into Rillaboom, and I go hard into Kartana. I don't really think I don't think I was very much thinking about it during the game, but going hard cart was 100 for sure my play, because if he did, because I think I live Grassy Glide at that range, but actually let me check. Clef from Rillaboom. Yeah, so I do live Grassy Glide from that range, and what that means is if I live, and rocks are up, or no, if I live, then I go into then I have my Clef, which is at what, like 2% at that point. I'd be in a really bad position because I have nothing that lives the Phantom Force. So going out from Clef into Kartana was always my play. If he does click something like Superpower, that is fine because I just go into my Dragapult and I sweep from there, because my Dragapult is a timid nature, so more likely than not, you're not going to be running max speed, Jolly, or timid on your Dragapult in like a hyper offensive kind of thing. So for that reason, I just, you know, go hard into Cart, and then I go ahead and click the knockoff. I think about random stuff here, and it's really not relevant at all, so I guess I'll just fast forward through it. So I just click the knockoff with Cart, which is whatever. I calculate a bunch of stuff just to make sure it's banded, but yeah, in the end I just end up clicking knockoff with Cart. He clicks Flamethrower or Dragapult here, which is, you know, whatever, and then I go into my Dragapult because I know he's going to be some sort of not max speed nature. I just knock him out with Shadow Ball, and that's the game right there. So a lot of people had like PM me after the game. Well, not a lot of people, but a couple of people PM me after the game saying that the Hydro Pump on turn 7, which I will go back to. Where is it? Hydro Pump on turn 7, right here. They were saying that this was not the correct play. I still believe it was the correct play. And the reason is because, again, I had to get Chip on the Magearna, or else I was going to set up and I was going to get 6-0'd, reverse 6-0'd from there. So, well, I had the chance to. Realistically, that was never going to be a threat because, you know, he was 3 attack shift gear, but that's why. Maybe in the future I could run like a faster Heatran or something, but there are definitely lessons to be learned from this game. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this, and hopefully we'll see you guys again with another win for next week. Peace.